Hello, this is Ava from Soul GPS. Welcome. I wanted to answer a really good question that was asked by one of my clients on air today because I think it could be useful to a lot of you. It basically deals with what to do when you're being thrown a barrage of questions at you by the narcissist, when you're trapped in a situation where it can be difficult to get out. So I just want to premise this discussion with the idea that when we are in a situation where we feel like we're under pressure, and especially when our emotions are very active, it may seem like we're inside of a maze that we can't get out of. But there is a way to get out of pretty much every situation. The key is to be calm, really, ultimately. And that's why it can be difficult in situations with narcissists, because the first thing that they will do is they will rattle your emotions. They want you to be off base. They want you to feel emotional. They will provoke you. They will exhaust you. They will say things. They'll push your buttons on purpose so that it's difficult for you to find your grounding. So when you know this, when you're aware of this, getting into the situation, or if you remember this while you're in the middle of a situation, it can be very useful, because the first thing you want to do then is take a deep breath and calm yourself down. Disengage yourself from the situation emotionally as much as you can, so that you can think with your mind, so that you can think with your with the logistical side of your brain, which again can be difficult, because the way that these situations typically work is that your midbrain, your emotional brain, is just goes into a hyperdrive. So I'm going to read the question now, and then we'll get into it. But just keep that in mind, what I said about being emotional. So this client says, a quick question, if you already have or may in the future address it in a video. And she says, when dealing with my narcissist, I want to keep it, I'm not going to go too personal here, so I may be changing some parts of this email. So when I'm dealing with my narcissist, I've learned tons about how to respond to narcissists when they try to trap you, like staying non-responsive and going something like, you're entitled to your opinion, or something along those lines. Usually I just go, okay. But what I struggle to figure out is when they go at you with questions like, she'll criticize me or someone else for something and say, don't you agree? Am I not right? Don't you think so too, that you could have invited me over for dinner? It wouldn't have been too much to ask, and so on. And I'm lost for words. I haven't seen anyone address this particular trap. I don't want to agree, but I don't want to defend myself either. But I can't just ignore her. If I go, well, that's your opinion, she'll most likely keep pushing for me to respond. It's her number one tactic, and I still haven't figured out how to deal with it. So it's a really good question, and actually the answer is really simple, how to deal with this particular trap. But again, it can be difficult to draw from it, to use it, because when we're overwhelmed with a lot of emotion, it can seem like you may be shaking, you may want to disappear, get under the ground, hide under the ground. It's just really, really, really uncomfortable. So the key is to just take a deep breath and center yourself first. Center yourself, and you don't have to be quick at giving your response. If there is a delay, that's okay. If you need to gather yourself, it's okay. But what I would want to encourage you to do, especially in situations when you're not in danger. If you're in danger, if that person is really threatening you, then what might be best to do is to just leave the room, leave the house, drive off, call for help, do anything like that. You gotta keep yourself in safety. But if it's just a conversation with somebody who's trying to basically have control of you by intimidating you, then you have a lot of tools to work with. So the first thing, like I said, is you want to center yourself and take a deep breath and just be mindful of your emotions coming up. And if your emotions are coming up, you can just notice it and acknowledge it. That in itself is going to bring you into the present moment, and it will give you a little bit of space so you're not overwhelmed by the emotions. And then the next thing what you want to do, what I would recommend that you do, and you learn to do this because it's a great skill to have, is to state your truth. And do it as succinctly as you possibly can, so you don't get into a full-on argument. At which case you can always disengage and leave, which is step number 2. So step number 1 is state your truth. No, actually, step number 1 is take a deep breath and center yourself. Step number 2 is state your truth, and step number 3 is disengage and leave. So in this case, what you may want to do, when I'm reading these questions again, so do you agree? Am I not right? Is it too much to ask? And so on. All you do is you say, yeah, it is too much to ask. And that's all you say, right? You don't get into the explanation of why is it too much to ask. Well, I think it's too much to ask because blah, blah, blah. Like, you don't want to go there. You just state the truth as succinctly as you can. Or don't you agree? Don't you agree? And if you don't agree, you say, no, I don't agree. I don't agree. And that's it. And you leave it at that. And you're probably going to notice a shift when you're responding in a way that this person is not used to, because they're used to trampling all over you and keeping you in a submissive position and intimidating you and making you scared. What you may notice is it's going to catch them off guard, and one of two things will likely happen. One thing is they're going to actually feel very uncomfortable, and they're going to try to do anything else to react, to provoke you into an argument, or they're going to get angry, or they will react in one way or another. Or after they get caught off guard, they will actually disengage, and they will be the ones to leave because they're so appalled. Like, how dare you say there? I mean, it's like no argument, no logic is going to hold up to this, right? So you want to hold tight and allow this person to go there. You allow them to get into, sort of fall into their own trap, because if you stated your truth, they will try to twist your arm to now abandon yourself and abandon your truth, which is what they're used to seeing you do. Now they're the ones who are getting into the slippery slope area. And if they start to, if they're very confident and very much full of themselves and very grandiose, like these questions are just full of grandiosity, and they start getting in with you and asking you more questions and basically barfing at you with their own arguments, that's when you can say, you're entitled to your own opinion. I stated mine. This conversation is over. Or you say, you know what? I don't feel comfortable being here anymore, and you walk away. So give yourself the out. I wouldn't want you to go against how you really feel, because we've done that enough, right, in our life, and you know how that ends up is people take advantage of you, people disrespect you, and the worst of all is you end up abandoning yourself, and you end up just not respecting yourself, and your self-confidence goes down. So you need to learn to actually stand up for yourself, and this is a really, really good opportunity. What happens after that? That this person is somebody who holds some kind of power position in your life, where say, well, if you disagree with me, then I'm going to punish you by taking you off my will or doing this. You need to be willing to put these things on the line. It's just like in a relationship with a narcissist. You need to be able to walk away. You have to. So this may feel overwhelming and difficult, and it's just like, oh, it's too much to deal with. It's so much easier to just say, yes, okay, I do agree with you, right? And going against your own truth. But I would like you to teach yourself and try something else. Know that you're going to be okay, even if that person flies off the handle, even if that person, they tend to usually sabotage themselves if they continue going in that direction. Something I've seen a lot in my own situations with dealings with people is that it's actually kind of a fascinating thing to watch, because I used to be very much in a place where it was uncomfortable for me to see them lose. It's bizarre, but yeah, like I didn't like putting other people in uncomfortable positions. You might be able to relate to that. And so what I would do is I would try to be the peacemaker and always look for the win-win outcome, which is, I think, a really great skill. I'm glad I can do this. I'm actually really good at that. But there are times where I needed to put my foot on the ground and say no, and say I don't agree, and go against what this dominant person was saying. And it was interesting to watch them kind of cower and shrink and get uncomfortable. It would make me uncomfortable right away, of course, but then I would walk away, and sometimes I would be like kind of shaking and going like, oh my god, what just happened? That was amazing, that was so different. But those moments are the ones that would ended up giving me a boost of confidence, where I was, not because I hurt another person. It's not about that. It's not about playing their game. It's not about you putting her in place. It's not about you watching somebody else lose their power and going like, whoa, that's really cool. That's what the narcissist does. It's not, you don't want to bring yourself to their level, but what it's really about is, and that's what feels so good, is that you spoke your truth and your body feels it. You instantly get a boost. You stand up a little straighter. You get a surge of power, feeling powerful inside yourself, inside your own skin. It's a great thing to do. It's like you right some things that were wrong. It's like putting together a broken arm. So you just put yourself together. So I would encourage you to do this, to try this. State your truth. Don't worry too much about the outcome. Don't worry about what she's going to do, or what they're going to do, how they're going to react. Leave that to them. That's their work. But you take responsibility here for yourself and your own well-being, and state your truth. And if it gets too much, if it gets too heated, if it gets too nonsensical, just walk away. Say, you know what? I'm not going to continue this. And that's it. So I hope this was helpful. I'd love to hear your opinions, your ideas, your input here. Again, I just want to underline one last time what I said earlier. If you are in a dangerous position, in a dangerous situation, where you feel like saying your truth is actually going to hurt you, it's going to endanger you or your child, then of course you don't want to do it. It might actually be a good idea to say, yeah, I do agree with you, and would you please excuse me, I'll be right back, and you dart out the door, or however else that plays out. I've been in that situation. I've been in a situation where, for my own safety, I had to pretend like things were okay when they weren't, just so that I can find the right moment, the right opportunity for me to exit a situation that was really tense. So you're gonna have to be the one to decide. I trust you have, the intuition, the intelligence, the ability to know when what is right. But there will be situations where, even though you will be feeling shaky, you will be feeling maybe a little bit afraid, that actually standing up for yourself is the absolute best thing you can do. And from then, it will get easier. So again, I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for asking the question. It was a great question. And I hope that some of you had an aha moment. And if you did, I'd love to know about that. Thank you so much. I wish you all a wonderful day. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.